The stylish and now one of the best values in America. Just for a limited time, buy the Super NES Super...
Now today's traffic report from Super Mario Kart.
Mario Paint, or power to create, only on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System.
Help for Wonder Kids save the planet from hideous destruction. Venture through 8 mysterious levels to gain power and put an end to the interstellar threat. Beware, the ultimate test is the encounter with a powerful guidance.
The following message is transmitted at the request of the Town Hall of Onet and Mayor B.H. Perkle. The Onet police force has spotted several unidentified flying objects, including some creatures that are slowly coming towards the town. This is not a test. These creatures are told to be responsible for the meteor crash weeks ago and recent disappearances of people in winters. All citizens in the town of Onet are advised to take precautions by staying inside, turning off your lights, closing your windows, and locking your doors. Do not go outside. Do not interact with any of these beings. Do not look at them. Do not go up the mountain where the meteor landed. Please stay tuned to local media for further updates.
Okay, I'll stop messing around. Let's get this video started. EarthBound was released in 1995 on the SNES. Despite being a popular console, this game did not receive much traction. In fact, most copies were only found in the bargain bin of small stores due to poor advertising. However, a glimmer of hope appeared for this game when it began to receive a cult following.
Bella3 asked, "What's my favorite video game of all time?" Way back when I was a kid again. We didn't have many games, so I played EarthBound over and over again. It's one of the most charming and interesting games I've ever played, and no experience has matched it yet.
This is one of the most timeless games ever, and is still great to play for the first time today. Speaking on behalf of many friends that I've shown this game to.
But yeah, this game was awesome. I genuinely loved it. And it was nice to experience it. I'm gonna remember it for a long time.
That's it. This game's awesome. You know, I've talked a lot about wasting your time playing bad games, but there's something equally sad about missing out on a good game.
A lot of people say that this is one of the greatest games of all time, but is the stuff most fans claim about the game true? And how does EarthBound even hold up today? Well, before I can talk about that, I want to tell you about when I was introduced to this game. EarthBound has been a game that's stuck with me for a very long time, almost 4 years ago. My first interaction with the franchise started when I was 13 years old. I got the game on the Wii U Virtual Console from the money I had as a birthday present. Sadly, I didn't really get into it because I thought it was too difficult for me to get through the first part of the game. But looking back at this moment, I realized how stupid I was because I didn't know that I could equip the cracked bat. Yeah. Anyway, a few years later, I finally convinced myself to give this game another shot when I got the SNES Classic Edition for Christmas. And then, I booted up the game. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think I've ever seen an opening like this before, with an eerie image of aliens invading a modern American town that fades into the actual title of the game, and then starts showing off a lot of stuff that's going to happen as you play it. This is probably the coolest opening to a video game I've ever seen. Eat your heart out, Melee. EarthBound is a bit slow at the start, but as you progress through its story and have more characters join your party throughout the game, it's really fun to play. Battles don't really blend in with the crowd of the same cookie cutter template that has been used in countless RPG games. People always seem to complain that the battles in these games don't allow you to see your characters, but then again, you're going to be seeing these guys walk around for a majority of the game, so I don't mind seeing new faces take up the screen. And speaking of battles, I think they're really creative. Battles are really the cornerstone of what makes this game amazing. It lets you show off the variety of what each character can do in this game. You get a first-person view of the enemy up close with a drug-trippy background that moves behind it. I've seen games like Donkey Kong Country and Star Fox create 3D graphics during this time, but for stuff like this on an SNES back in 1995 must have been mind-blowing. Oh, okay, let's just get into a battle, I guess. It looks really cool whenever PSI attacks are shown in a battle since it complements the background. If you want to see a really cool 3D effect, I recommend taking a pair of sunglasses and popping off the right lens. Go ahead, try it right now. Another cool part about EarthBound's battle mechanics is the scrolling HP. It most likely happens if a party member has taken mortal damage where they experience a one-hit knockout. But that doesn't mean they're instantly dead. You see, when this happens, the HP meter slowly ticks down to 0. So during the next turn, you actually have a chance of keeping that party member from going unconscious. This stuff can make each battle unique instead of it being a waste of time in most RPGs where you're just mashing the A button all the time. And when you put bad stuff like that in an RPG instead of doing something fun and unique like EarthBound does, that's where the player starts losing interest in the game. That's where the player stops having fun. As Reggie Fils-Aimé once said,
"The game is fun. The game is a battle. If it's not fun, why bother? If it's not a battle, where's the fun? It's a test that you pass or a quest that you fail. A race against time. Fun and battle always locked together. But the game is also something else. It's a journey, a passport to new worlds, maybe even an odyssey. A look, a feel, an exploration. Close your focus and open your mind. Yes, the journey requires the right ticket, but in the end, it's not just where you can take your game. It's where your game can take you. So let's go.
EarthBound is weird. Whether it's the NPCs and their creative and hilarious dialogue, or it's this. Yeah, it's that kind of weird. But that doesn't make it a bad game. In fact, I think it makes this game even better. There's even this button layout where the controls are made this way so you can play the game while eating pizza.
You can play the game with your left hand and eat pizza in the other, since the game can be controlled with the L button, which lets you talk and check, otherwise known as search, and the control pad to move.
Yeah, I wasn't joking about that. I think the weirdness EarthBound has fits as an RPG because it's able to contrast itself from other video games or other pieces of media in general. Whenever you see stuff like this, Or this. It's really obvious to know what you're looking at. Think about why the Simpsons are yellow, or why the mercenaries from TF2 all have different shapes. Because that way, your brain is able to differentiate this one thing from all other pieces of media. Let's be honest, is there a game anything like Mother 1, 2, or 3? Not really. The only games that ever come close to them instead take full inspiration, but don't act like a complete mirror to the games.
I think the hardest instrument to distinguish yourself on may be the drums, and yet I always know when it's you. You have the most distinctive sound and rhythm of any player that I've ever heard, and I think I read an interview once where you said it's because you sort of taught yourself and you learned a few things the wrong way.
Well, no, I was born left-handed.
Right.
And my grandmother thought that was not a good sign. And so she turned me right-handed. Mm-hmm. So I write right-handed. Anything else I do left-handed, golf, whatever.
Yeah.
And so I have a right-handed kit, but I lead with my left.
And just like Ringo Starr's drumming, EarthBound uses its unique style to not only be distinct, but also make sure it never blends in with the crowd. And that's what makes this game human.
This whole thing has been one great big appreciation about how special and how unique and how timeless of a piece EarthBound is. I've given you multiple reasons as to why I believe this is. Everything from the visual style making it still look great today to the writing feeling like it was made at another time. But I think there's more. There's the fact that EarthBound is about life. It understands not only the good, having great humor, just funny things that you can't believe just happened, material for stories that you're gonna want to tell people, all sorts of strange things surrounding you and everything feeling larger than life. It feels like childhood. And that's because it also remembers the bad things. It isn't just the zany fuzzy pickles. It understands having a sense of humor in the face of the bad things that happen to you. It understands when you're uncertain. It understands when you're scared.
When EarthBound's creator, Shigesato Itoi, was a child, he walked into a movie theater not knowing that he was going to witness something that would traumatize him and take away his innocence. It was a horror film known as The Military Policeman and the Dismembered Beauty. In the movie, a woman is strangled to death and her limbs are cut off to hide evidence she was murdered. Shigesato Itoi had mistaken this one part of the movie for a rape scene and was traumatized in the process. When he was making EarthBound, he wanted to create that feeling he had when he lost his innocence for the final boss in the game. Now, you're probably wondering, this is a 16-bit game from 1995. How can it be scary? This is Gygas. Throughout this entire game, we are told about Gygas countless times as we continue taking steps through this journey, but we never get a chance to get a look at him until we finally get to fight him. Gygus is something that not many would be able to explain unless if you've played Mother 1. Nothing he does or says makes any sense or in any way references the movie that inspired this fight in the game. But I think not being able to understand what or who Gygus is or what his motives are is what really fits as icing on the cake to make this part of EarthBound really scary. Most top 10 lists of scariest video game boss fights will even put Gygus in number 1.
And you always fear what you don't understand.
And what's really scary is that none of your attacks do anything to him. I remember when I was at this part of the game, I didn't know what to do and I thought I was gonna lose the fight. But as I was looking at the options for each character for what I could do, I looked at the options for Paula. Pray. Now, this is the last thing I would do in these battles because most of the time it's a shot in the dark what would happen next, and you would have to be really lucky that something good happened. However, I trusted my gut and selected Prey. And then... EarthBound is a masterpiece. It's an amazing game that everyone should play at least once in their lifetime. Its amazing replayability turns it into an experience that sticks with me every time I play it. In fact, it's become a tradition where I play this game from start to finish every year. Not only does this game hold up, but I would consider it a timeless classic. I don't think I can fully describe how much I love these games or even its community, because EarthBound has been a part of my life during these past few years and I've welcomed it with open arms. It's why I think it's a great game. It's why I think it's one of the best games ever made. It's why EarthBound is the best game on the SNES.
I miss you.